What up, everybody? Thanks for tuning back in for, I guess, episode 2 of the e46 LS swap. Sorry that the first episode was a little boring. I just thought I'd give you guys a little intro to myself and what's going on, but not much has happened since we last chatted. I've had a bunch of parts trickle in. I figured on this episode I'd be covering mostly pre-LS swap stuff. So I'm gonna pull the engine in the e46, the stock M54. Just do a bunch of things basically that are required to be done before we put the motor in. So that entails what are the things? We got to shave some area away, like next to the ABS sensor or ABS pump. Probably do some bashing. Got to do a bunch of heater hose routing and probably just clean up the engine bay a little bit. I haven't quite decided whether I'm going to paint it yet. The whole point of this swap that I'm doing is putting good reliable power into my drift car, and the whole point of putting into the BMW is it's expendable. So I want to have a good power plant that I can put into the BMW and just not give two hoots, because before I've been building the 240 for quite a few years and it's pretty much immaculate now, and it just would kill me to crash it or even take it to the track. It's just there isn't many around anymore, and I don't want to see it wrecked. I love the car. Call me whatever you like, but it's just, it would kill me to wreck it. So I guess the whole point of what I'm doing is swapping some things into a BMW that I just don't give a flying fuck about, and there's millions of them, right? So if I crash it, I can just take the power plant out and put it into another one. Like it won't bother me. But anyways, I don't know exactly where I was going with that, but yeah, so basically in this episode we're just going to cover pre-LS swap things. I'll give you guys a little tour of what I've done since we last talked. Like, I've had a bunch of parts come in. The engine's still in the machine shop. Royce and myself are going to be putting that together hopefully next week. We've just been waiting for all the parts. We got cams coming in and valve springs and a bunch of cool stuff that's going to be happening. I won't be videoing that. I'll just give you guys a rundown once I get it back to my shop. Everything that we did, that's all standard stuff you can find on the tube already. So plus I don't know how comfortable I am with tubing with somebody else yet. I'm just getting used to this stuff. So I don't want to have a camera jammed in the guy's face the whole time we're putting the engine together. And anyways, so yeah, I know we talked about numbers last time. How much the swap was going to cost. I haven't started adding things up yet, but it's really adding up. But I decided along the way that I'm not going to go balls to the wall, but I'm also not going to skimp out. So I got a bunch of cool stuff, and as you can see, my parts pile here is really added up. I got things on the bench already taken apart, and also we'll cover the transmission issue that I've been having. But yeah, so basically I got this 102 mil fast LSXR intake, which is, from what I heard, most people you see have the Holley Ram intakes. I heard they're not very ideal unless you're boosting, and this was kind of it was either this or go with just a OEM LS3 intake, which the price I couldn't find any used around, so the price difference in going new OEM to this was not much. And I don't know, but I think it looks pretty dang sexy, and I've heard good things. So I got that. I got some nice billet fuel rails from Fast as well. Keep in mind, I'm going to be really trying to keep a good parts list going here, so you guys can all see that in the description. And maybe it'll make it easier for you, maybe it won't. One thing I've encountered was, I shouldn't be using stock L92 injectors, the truck injectors, because I should really be getting something a bit better. I don't know though. I've been doing some emailing and some investigating, but these do not fit in. Apparently these are 5.51 millimeter bores, and the LS3 is like 5.87. So theoretically those should be loose in there, but I can't even get them in, and I don't know if I need to pull these caps off. These caps are jamming in, but I'll get to the bottom of it and I'll let you guys know what I did. What else has come in? I've got Holley didn't have any more. They were out of stock on their throttle body, so I went with Performance World, a little bit cheaper. Should do the job. Got a TPS sensor, a Holley idle air temp sensor. No, sorry. The Holley is the TPS, and I've just got a no-name brand for the. I can't remember what it was, but for the idle air. What else came in? We got that is Terminator X. Super excited about that. We got a welding helmet. Nope, just kidding. That can go back where it lives. We got. I'm gonna kind of cheap out on the fuel system for now. I mean, everybody seems to have mixed opinions about these, but it's gonna be super simple for me to set up. You know, it's just a return to tank fuel filter and pressure regulator from a Corvette. So that's super simple, super cheap. I can just run one line up to the fuel rails. What else did I get here? Underneath this is Holley 302-1 oil pan. I got the whole ICT-2 accessory drive kit. So I didn't realize this, but I really wanted to freshen up all the accessories on the front of the motor because they're all super ugly, and I probably could have just ordered a bunch of this stuff from our local Lordco, but this kit that ICT had was a good bang for its buck. I got the alternator relocation and power steering pump relocation, power steering pump, alternator. I can't remember what this is. Oh yeah, that's a new harmonic balancer. Yeah, everything in the front, accessory drive, water pump. This is from the Escalade. I'm actually trying to sell this. If anybody wants to buy it, let me know. For now, I'll put it in the garbage. Some gaskets. Oh, I got this nice low car throttle cable. Yeah, everybody that I've seen do these swaps has got, like, I think it's a 36-inch cable, and I've noticed that every single one of their swaps, the cable goes across the intake all willy-nilly like, and I don't know, I thought, why not get a little bit longer so I can run it nicely. So this is a 48, I believe, I can't remember. I'll put it in the description. Also, this little low car throttle cable bracket that mounts onto the intake, really nice. Can't believe how friggin' expensive that piece is. It's like $100 just for this little billet piece, but I mean, it is pretty and super simplistic. It'll look good on there. So there's the throttle cable. Put that out of the way here for now. I got. Oh, this is just a box of miscellaneous stuff. So one thing about the E46, unless you have 320. Unless you have a 323 or a 328 pre-facelift, I believe it is, or whatever the I honestly I can't remember, but it's a 323 or a 328 has drive-by cable still. So I got this from the local Bimmer Parts sort of wreck place. Just a drive-by cable throttle pedal, so theoretically I should be able to just friggin' bolt this right into my car and get rid of the drive-by wire. I also picked this up from another local drifter. He with the CX racing headers, you have to run the steering shaft through the headers. There's a bunch of different. There's a bunch of different. I think there's a couple companies that make swap steering shafts, but I'm trying to nickel and dime the things that I know I can fab up myself, no problem. So I got this second steering shaft, and basically I'm just going to make a telescoping one out of the steering shaft that I already have. So there's that. What else is in here? This is the Holley 302-1 swap oil dipstick, which is important because we got to know how much oil is in the engine. Other things here, little bits and pieces. Yeah, this was just the intake box that came with the fuel rails and all that jazz. And I think that's, so I'm still waiting on a few other things. I got a flywheel coming, which I'll talk more about here. I got, when I first got the car, actually, I mentioned to you guys the problem with the car. It wasn't running off one bank. The power wire coming into the bank one coil pack harness was chafed right here. So anyways, I don't really want to reuse these. I mean, I fixed it already and got the car running good before I took the motor out. But I figured I have a nice new loom for the Terminator X. I might as well order the the Holley coil pack harness and freshen all that up too, instead of putting this garbage back in. And I'm going to cheap out on coils for now. I'm probably just going to use these. My shopmate Andrew with the Cressida over there. Sick Cressida. It's got an LS in it too, or sorry, a 4.8. So he's got a bunch of spare coils sitting around. I might use those because they look a bit better than these ones. And someone really torqued these to spec, as you can see. Cracked them here, so they were hammering down on those. I'm sure that's probably a common problem, but anyways, I'll take those all off, paint this up, we'll get sandblast this, paint it up all nice, and so that should look good. And just gonna run the stock valve covers for now, and I'll clean that up at a later date. But I'm just trying to pinch pennies a little bit because I got a lot of nice parts here. The other thing I've successfully finished up lately is these guys. So what you're looking at here is 10 grand in transmissions. There isn't much information about these online other than the fact that they're super common trans. The TR6060, everybody loves them. I wanted to go this route in the beginning because it's a high horsepower trans. Like it's going to be good for the track. It's going to be durable. I'm not going to be blowing up trans all the time like some of my other fellow comrades who just threw a T4 behind or whatever. It's like driving around on glass. Instead, I'm going to be blowing up differentials because I plan on doing nothing to my rear end until I blow something up. So we're running on medium case stock BMW drivetrain in the rear for now until I blow it up, which is going to be funny. It'll probably be instantly, but I'm going to try and get away with it. Anyways, on your left, you have a TR6060 out of a 2009 CTS-V. On the right, 2011 CAMARO TR6060. The information that isn't online is that they're different, and they are noticeably different. This guy here, there's one video that I found after the fact. My dumbass bought this transmission first, and after the fact I realized I was like looking online for shifters and what I was going to do, deciding if I was going to build a linkage, and I noticed that I couldn't find anything for this year transmission. I was like, wait a minute, are these different? So I did a little research. I found one video on YouTube of a guy comparing the two, and I was like looking, I'm like, holy shit, they are different. So as you can see, the shifter output comes out way back here on the CTS-V. I was like, okay, well, it still has the mid-shift top location. Well, if I open this up, which will take me a second here. This is what it looks like inside. There's no shifter cup. I'd open up this one for you, but instead I'm just going to put I have a picture that I took of it before. I've already resealed it, and I really just don't feel like opening this up again. But basically, this one has a shifter cup inside of it, obviously, and then this top mid-shift, I don't even know what you call it, whatever, goes in that shifter cup, and then this is what controls it. Well, with this one, there isn't a shifter cup. And you go, oh, well, why don't you just change that out? Well, it's actually not that simple. It can be done, and it has been done. But basically, the shaft that comes out the rear, it is smaller in this one. So when you get the shifter cup input here, this shaft that goes in that side is smaller. So you'd have to machine this shaft down to fit in there. Also, I believe this is one shaft that goes right through from back here all the way through. So you have to, anyways, there's a bunch of machine shop stuff you have to do. Really big fuck around. And I was like, okay, well, I will just build my shift linkage off this. I got really worried and paranoid. I don't know where this is going to land in the trans tunnel. I think it's going to be behind where I want to be shifting. So I don't know, and I'll find out when I put this in. So that was worrying me. Also, then I started looking, and I'll pull these out. Then I started thinking like, okay, well, I can make something work back there. Who knows? I'll have to find out when I get it in the car if it's behind where I want to be shifting. Because if it's behind, making a linkage for that is going to be way crazier. You could link forward, but everything's going to be backwards. Your first gear is going to be back this way, and I just don't like stupid shit like that. So that was bothering me. Then I started looking up clutches for. I was like, wait a minute, like maybe other things are different, like the input shaft. No aftermarket clutches. I emailed Monster Clutches asking them a bit about it, and they said, oh, you got a weird one there, because the only clutch we offer for that transmission is a 3-disc, just like a super crazy clutch. It was like $2,700 US. I'm in Canada, so I like to clarify that because it's a lot different here. $2,700 for this clutch that's meant for 12 to 1,500 horsepower. So that's not going to be fun to drive for me. It's going to be chattery and just it'd just be ridiculous. Like, yes, it would work, blah blah blah, but I don't want to spend $2,700 on the clutch. Well, I've heard that you can swap out a CAMARO input shaft into these and then it opens up your clutch options, but that's hearsay. I haven't been able to find anybody who's actually done it. If it's just swapping the input shaft, you got to change all the bearings out. Anyways, then all of a sudden I was like, oh, maybe I should look on Marketplace, see if I can find another trans. Boom, this guy popped up. 2011 CAMARO. Oh, sorry, yeah, 2011 CAMARO. Another thing it came with. It came with a whole drive shaft and the stock shifting, so I can build my own shifter linkage from this one right onto my BMW shifter, which is what I plan on doing because I'm cheaping out at this point. MGW makes a really nice shifter that bolts right up and comes right out the stock BMW shifter hole. It's perfect, but it's like 600 US. So or I could just make my own linkage for free. For now, maybe I'll update it if I don't like it, but I need to fabricate some things, and I have no problem doing that, so no big deal. Anyways, came with the stock shifter, came with the drive shaft, came with the drive shaft output flange. My other one doesn't have an output flange. Who knows how the fuck hard it would be for me to get one of those, because obviously they're not common. It also came with a clutch, and it's got 74,000 K on it, so really not much K. Yeah, so it came with a bunch of shit, and I was like, wow, that would like mitigate so much worry for me. It would mitigate so much time if I ended up having to machine this, or if I ended up having to, it was like make my own custom clutch, make all those weird measurements, shim the slave. Like, it's gonna save me like a retarded amount of time. by just throwing more money out the window. So I bought this, and now it's super easy. I'll throw it in. I know that it's gonna work. I know that I can build my own linkage. Super easy. The aftermarket clutch, like there's lots, like there's so many options. So for now, I'm gonna fucking burn the shit out of this one. Keep the price tag down. I mean, it doesn't look great, but it doesn't look bad. I'm gonna use that for now. I'm gonna toast it, and then we'll deal with that problem later. Yeah. Oh, another thing. Transmission mount for this guy. There's two output holes here. I was gonna have to do something fucking weird. There's no output. There's no, like, this bracket comes from Jegs, and it just bolts on, and then you can just bolt your standard transmission poly bushing on there. So, like, fuck, even just doing that, I would have had to do more bullshit there. So this is just gonna save me so much time. Anyways, I'm just gonna get this trans buttoned up. I've already got the trans mount bushing on here. I've got the remote bleeder from what was that? IS, or it used to be ISIS. What's it called now? ISR Racing or whatever. I guess they had to change the name for obvious reasons. But anyways, remote bleeders on there. I got the clutch line from Chase Bays. It also came with a remote bleeder, but I already actually had this one. So my plan is to connect the extra Chase Bays one that I got with this one. I just need a dash 4 or whatever that is, union, and then I can connect the lines together, and then I could have my clutch bleeder right up in the engine bay if I wanted. Yeah, so I got that. I got the Chase Bays line to hook right into the stock BMW master, and this is a CAMARO slave cylinder throwout bearing. But in this video, I'm just gonna button up the rest of the trans, and what that includes is me deleting the oil cooler lines. I'm not deleting them, obviously, because there's an oil pump in there, and if I just cap those both off, I'm sure something not good is going to happen. So I'm just basically going to connect the output with the input, or the inlet with the outlet. Sorry, we're talking about fluid now. I don't know if it comes out here or goes in, but either way, it comes in or out here, and comes in or out over here. So my plan for now, just cut the lines. I'll probably put a flare on it as a fake hose barb, run a hose over here, or somehow I'm going to try and retain these stock fittings and over the top, and then connect it back into itself. One thing I might do, which I saw from another video, was this fitting here with the CX Racing headers. It's really close, or it hits or something. So I might try and do some greasy stuff. Some real greasy stuff. I'm going to cut it here. Try and bend this fitting a little bit more, because I saw in someone else's video, Ralph's Garage. Shout out to Ralph's Garage. Super cool videos. This hits on the CX Racing header. So he put some banjo fittings there. I'm going to try and bend this a little bit more. Cheap out, not getting banjo fittings. This thing's probably going to see some heavy track abuse, so it'd be smart for me to put an oil cooler in at some point, but I'm not gonna right now. So we're gonna move that, bend it, connect it. I'll probably flare this to make a fake sort of hose barb, and then the trans theoretically ready to go in the car whenever that happens. But be one thing to get off the list. Another fun fact about the things you need to do before you put this transmission in your car. There's a CAG delete, which is mystery to me, because it's something to do with emissions and electronics and shifting from first to fourth. I don't know, but you're supposed to delete it, so we're going to delete it. I'm waiting for a it's just a drain plug. We're gonna put that in there. But the other cool thing that I did which I haven't seen anybody else do, mainly because I haven't looked for it. But for the reverse lockout delete, which is this guy, this is actually the stock reverse lockout solenoid. Basically what this does is when you're shifting into fifth, it stops you from shifting into reverse, which I think is very important. Lots of people order the sticky delete, reverse lockout delete. It's just a frost plug. You get rid of this and you put that in there. But what happens is you can shift into reverse quite easily, and that really bothered me. So I actually ordered that anyways. I don't know why. It was 30 bucks. I should have just ordered a frost plug. But then I started looking at this. Basically, what it is it's a solenoid. So this actually used to look like that. So there's this solenoid bolted on here, and what I did was I pulled this off. There's a retaining clip on the inside of this. I popped that off. I pulled out the mechanism out of here. All it is it's a spring, and this solenoid basically pushes up. It's always up, and so it makes it hard. This spring is engaged, so it makes it hard for you to put it into reverse, like really hard. When you put your foot on the brake, and it engages this solenoid, which releases, and then it allows that spring to go in, and you can push it in reverse. So there's another reverse lockout modification you can get. I'll put the link for the part in the video and in the description, but it's basically gets rid of all this. It's like a looser spring, so it allows you to mechanically put it in reverse. There's still a little bit of a detent there, so it stops you from shifting, but it's $100 and something bucks, or I can't remember what it was, but it's expensive. So what I did is I pulled that spring out. I cut the spring down. Like, the best thing to do would just be put a softer spring in, but then I got to go out and find a softer spring. So all I did was I cut the spring down, so it's got less area for it to, I don't know, it's got less spring. So you go over, it doesn't want to go in reverse, and then it gives it a little bit more give, and it goes in reverse, still with that hard spring. So it actually works really well. I put that stock shifter back on and tried it out. So all I did was take that spring out, I cut it, then this solenoid, I pulled that out, and I'll show you guys on this, but I literally cut the solenoid right there, so I still had this nice thing to grab onto with a wrench. I cut it. I put a washer on it. It was like a bunch of windings and shit in there, a bunch of copper windings. I put a washer on it, welded it all up, welded the hole, sealed it, and friggin' screwed it back in. So I just basically made my own solenoid plug. Took me about 5 minutes, and I have a functioning reverse lockout mechanism rather than just getting rid of it. And it cost me one washer and like 10 centimeters of welding wire, or 5 inches or whatever it is for you folks. I don't in the States. But yeah, I mean, I haven't seen anybody do that before, and it works, and I'm super stoked on it. And cheaping out is nice. I love it. Got to do some sloppy shit, boys. So anyways, waiting for a drain plug for this. We'll get rid of that. It's called the CAG. Well, once again, it's like a mystery to me, and based on the fact that everyone says you don't need it, and then I just don't care about looking into what it actually does. So yeah, all I'm waiting for is that, and we'll do the lines. Cheers. All right, so I made this. I'll show you why. The fitting I bought for this, which I knew wasn't gonna work, but I was being optimistic. I thought it was gonna be tight enough. Can't screw it in. I can't screw it in here because it hits this side. I could order a banjo and it'd be super awesome, but I'm super impatient and I don't want to wait for that. So I got to doing some sloppy shit. I cut up the old oil cooler line for the trans. This end, which goes to the oil cooler, could still be utilized because it's the same fitting. It's the same little GM retaining clip fitting. I don't know what you call them, but they go into these fittings like that. So I just welded up this little guy, cut a 45, welded her up. I even did a bead around here to get a little hose parb. Super greasy, but you know what? I think it's gonna be super greasily awesome because that's gonna pop in there like that. And so I put the retaining clip in there. Hose is gonna go over to this one, which is the original fitting that I stole from the other side, because it fits here nice, like that, nice and tight to the trans. Hose over, done. So that's what I did for that. Alright guys, the trans is all buttoned up, kegs delete, reverse lockout, schlop. We've finished our hose, that's all done. Our oil cooler hose connector, I put these heat shields on the hose just because the headers are going to come down right here, and also race car. We got our trans mount bushing is on. We got clutch line and bleeder. So we just need to slam this thing in. And yeah, off to the races. But thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one.